This is the 5 Point Play Podcast, the diehard Duke basketball fans podcast, the official Duke basketball fans podcast of the College Huddle. Happy to be here. Not the result that we wanted, obviously, not the result that we predicted. But if you thought we were going to shy away, if you thought we were just going to walk back and not show our faces and be woe is me, blame the refs, blame everybody else, no, we're not going to do that. That's not how we roll. But we'll break it down for you. We'll break down what happened, what went right, what went wrong, where Duke needs to improve. And then I think what we need to bring back is the overreaction segment of this podcast where it's like, was that an overreaction? Because there's a lot of overreactions going out there, not only in
That
Duke
was an
land, in,
overreaction.
but also in college basketball land. Like, there's a lot of overreactions. When you're married to a Carolina girl, like I am,
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
you hear a lot of crap. And so you have to live with it. But I also realize that it's an opportunity for us as a podcast and me as a co-host here at AC to
Uh-huh.
set the record straight and be able to educate the masses on what is actually going on. But let's talk about the game real quick. I want to start with I got to go through my roster. AC, great to have you back, obviously.
Yeah, man.
And we got the social media mogul right there down there, Jack. If you don't
Livy
know
Dunn's,
about
man.
social media, that's true. Livy Dunn's boyfriend, Jack.
I am not Paul Skeens.
Not
My
yet.
fastball tops out at 72.
All right, that's pretty good. 72. Wow. And then of course the esteemed Coach Pobbs, Coach P. The P stands for pause. Now, Coach Coach P, you were at the game. You were there with your wife. Talk about a house divided. Your
Yeah,
wife's there in Kentucky gear, and you're there in Duke gear.
yeah.
Talk about the scene. Number one, what was it like being there, and then also, talk about the game and kind of like your overall breakdown of the game. You got the floor.
Yeah, so at the game, prior to the game and everything, we did a bunch of walking around and stuff like that. I'm dripped out in Duke gear, she's dripped out in Kentucky gear, so we got a bunch of different conversations. It was interesting to see though, because everybody was real respectful, real polite, because they know I would slap the shit out of them. But you know, that's how I go. But everybody was super cool, man. Like Kentucky fans are super cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? We drank a little bit with some. Like it was all good, bro. But at the game, bro, it was unbelievable, bro. Like straight up electric atmosphere, bro. Like I've never been in an atmosphere that lit, me personally. You know what I'm saying? Like it was, man, the atmosphere was crazy in that game. Um, and it just, man, it was nothing like it, man. It's nothing like it. The only thing I could probably compare it to, I've never been to like a Duke and UNC game, but I can just imagine that something like that is electric. Or maybe a national championship game, but it just had one of those. It just was one of those ones, bro. Like it just had that feeling, bro. You know what I'm saying? Pause. So, you know, um, everything was cool, man. Like, I mean, we had a good time. I mean, obviously not the outcome we wanted. Um, Hard fought game, man. Like, I mean, it was just back and forth, back and forth. I was sitting behind uh like about five Kentucky fans, man. And they just looked like they looked like how I looked, bro. I thought I was gonna have a fucking heart attack in that game. You know what I'm saying? And I mean they were the same way, you know what I mean? So I just told them straight up, you know what I mean? I'm training CPR. I can go get a run and get an AED because yeah, we might all need one of them motherfuckers. So you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, we was, you know what I mean, the whole game, like it was cool though, bro. We was dapping each other up, bro. Like, oh yeah, he's nice. That's a good play. That's a good play. Back and forth, back and forth. Um, and it's a stark difference from the people that you see in person and the people that you deal with online. The people
Oh, yeah.
online are just fucking idiots. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll just be honest with you. Like they're just idiots and just trolls. And it's just unbelievable, man. And like I told my wife yesterday, who's a Kentucky fan. So it is what it is. I love her, but shit. Boy, I wanted to divorce her yesterday. You know what I'm saying?
That's wild.
So
So it was Pobbs. It was tied with 10 seconds to go. What was the atmosphere like? Like, could you cut the tension with a knife? Like, were people
bro,
yelling and
that shit was
screaming?
so bro, it was so crazy, bro. Like people literally, I mean, the whole arena is standing up first and foremost, and like,
Right.
I mean, like you see it on people's faces, like you know what I'm saying. Like these people, like they know they should have lost that game. They know it. You know what I'm saying? But like I tell everybody though, I said the difference between Duke and Kentucky is this, bro, is that we went in that game and we still feel this way, right? Is that we know that we're better and we should have won that game, right? They went in that game knowing and only hoping, well, not knowing, they went in that game hoping that they won. We went into that game knowing that we would win. They went into that game hoping that they would win because they just, you know,
Right.
bragging rights or whatever. It is what it is. But I mean, that's just the feeling I get because I mean, all the UK fans I saw and talked to, they were just like, bro, you know what I'm saying? Like,
We got away
I
with
don't.
one.
Yeah, like literally, you know what I'm saying? And prior to the game, though, it was kind of like, you know, yeah, man, I don't know if we can hang with this. I don't know if we can hang with Duke. And you know, nobody was like, I didn't I'm being dead serious, man. I'm not being like I'm not fucking around or trolling or anything, but I didn't run into too many UK fans that was like, oh, we're gonna win, like just really confident, like we're gonna win. They were nervous as shit, bro. They were nervous as shit. But I will give them props though, man, is that they travel. They travel. It was so
Yeah,
in the
they do.
bro. It was a lot more UK fans, bro.
Yeah. Jack, you and I were both at the 2015 national championship, correct?
No, I wasn't in
You
2015.
weren't
I
there.
was in
You were at the
2010.
2010, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So the 2015 one, I had the exact opposite experience as Pops. When the Kentucky fans that I encountered, they were so full of themselves. I mean, they should have been, right? They were 38-0 at that point. Um, and so they were full of themselves, and they were not the most pleasant to be around. Like if they saw an opposing, especially with Duke fan, Wisconsin fan, whatever, they were all up in your face, being like, "We're the best ever," and like, "You can't hold a candle to us," all that kind of stuff.
Really?
It was exactly like that. So it's funny to hear the opposite perspective of Kentucky fans that uh, I don't want to say humble because they're definitely not humble now, but they to your point though, Pop, like they went in there expecting to lose, and I think there's a difference between going into a game hoping to win, expecting to lose,
Yeah.
versus going in expecting to win. And that's it. There is no hoping we don't lose. That's not
Yeah.
the reality. And
Yeah.
I ended the last podcast, Bob's, with a three prong scenario where I can see the game going one of three ways. Kentucky wins close, Duke wins close, or Duke blows them out. And that's why I picked Duke overwhelmingly because there was no fourth prong, which was Kentucky could blow Duke out. There's no way that they can do that because they're not good
Yeah.
enough.
No, I don't think so either. And you know, like I said to a bunch of people, I even put it on social media, and I wholeheartedly still believe this. I think, and you know, people say, "Hey, you just like Duke, you're just a fan." No, I'm just being real about basketball, just matching the team up,
Right,
team to team. I
right.
believe that we are 15 to 20 points better than that team on any day. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? If we're both clicking on all cylinders, I think we're still 15 to 20 points better. We might be 10, 15 points better than that team. But
Agreed.
yesterday, there is no reason why we shouldn't have won that game by 15, 20 points, you know,
Yeah,
other
and
than
again,
the result. So, yeah.
yeah, no doubt, and we're gonna break it all down. AC, dude, you were on Spaces pregame, you were on Spaces postgame. Um, I don't want to have you relive all that, but I do want to get your
No, I want to
reaction.
relive
Let's
it.
start.
Look,
Yeah,
no, here we go. Because I want to say something. Look, Kentucky fans, come here, come close. Come here, come here, come here. I'll smack the shit out of y'all motherfuckers, man. Look, come back in March, please. I hear you. I see you're gonna be in the comments of this video. Do you have a Duke degree? All the stuff that y'all want to say, y'all lost. Cool. Y'all say it. Because in March, I want to see all of you back here. I do. Please come back.
Yeah,
Because it's gonna be a
yeah,
different story. Come on back. Come on back.
yeah. And
Come
I
on back,
hope we
please.
play
Come on
y'all. I
back.
hope we play them. I hope we
Oh
play
yeah.
them in March
Oh
I
too.
God, I
would
hope we play them.
gladly play them.
I
I hope
hope
we
they put
play
us in the
'em.
same bracket, the same earth. I don't care. I'm look, shit out of y'all.
But
That's all. That's all.
Bro,
That's
explain
all.
why. No,
Get
no,
off on
AC.
my
No, AC. Keep it with you. Keep it with you here. Explain why you feel that way. Explain
because this is a
exactly
good
why.
team.
Break it down. Break it down.
Because this is a good team. We saw it. We saw it in the first half. We saw the result of this game. Look, I want to thank Kentucky because what you've done is you've exposed our weakness so that now in November we know what we need to fix, right? Because everybody wants to say like if we went through the non-conference undefeated, everybody's like, oh, we need a loss to find out who we really are, all that stuff. Cool, whatever. If you want to say that, fine, so be it. Look, we lost. So guess what? We find out who we really are. We find out what we need to do. All right, we got somebody hurt, so now some other people because we want to see the bench and all the other stuff, right? So now somebody else can try to see if they earn time, right? So let's see if that actually happens, right? Like we get to learn who we really are. So this is November. This happened. Doesn't mean that this team is toast. Doesn't mean that this team can't do anything. This is a game in November that we can learn from. If we don't learn from it, cool, fine, bury us. But if we do learn from it, y'all, we need to watch out because that is trouble.
And,
trouble. So go ahead and comment. I went to comments because I was responding to every single one of y'all motherfuckers. Go ahead, comment.
I'll say real quick too is you know what I'm saying. And after you slap the shit out of the Kentucky fans, some of y'all Duke fans, I'm gonna backhand the shit out of y'all too, because y'all just doing too much, bro. Y'all wilding out, bro. Like y'all doing too much, bro. Like we gotta chill. Like all this slander is crazy, bro. Like it's one game, bro. And I understand like people get emotional and they want to win the game and all that shit. But the fact of the matter is, your ass ain't on the court. You ain't playing. You know what I'm saying? You watching the game just
and
like
we're better off for it, probably too.
Yeah, so like just cheer for the team, bro. Like you don't have to do all this extra shit online, bro, and talk about people's families and talk about kick them off the team and talk about the cut. Like, come on, bro. Like, what are we doing, bro? Like, as a fan base, we should be better than that. But we're falling into the same, trap in the same, category as some of these other fan bases that do shit like that, man. We ain't trying to. We don't run coaches off, bro. We don't do that.
And that includes Kentucky.
Yeah, we don't. And shit, I'm mainly talking about them, but
it's the same fan bases that we trash, but then you're going to go do the same thing. Can't do that.
Be better.
Be better, right, Jack? So Jack,
I wanna,
go ahead.
I mean, I just want to say, like Mark Pope did a good job. He did. At the end of the day, that's what happened. Kentucky was able to play 10 guys. Duke only played 8. Down the stretch, R played the center, which forced Khaman to stay out on the perimeter and guard him. Didn't just let Duke have a shot decimator stand under the hoop the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
That's good coaching. Another thing that he did over the course of the week, apparently the Spalding basketball that Michigan State and Kansas and Duke all struggled to shoot with, Kentucky practiced with that ball a week. And they shot 40% from 3. They shot better than the other 3 teams in the Champions Classic from the field. So that's heads up. That's heads up coaching and practice. Good for them. They won that game. See you guys in March. Let's see. Keep that same energy all year.
See in March, see in April, whatever.
Duke shot 17% from 3 and like 38% from the field or something like that, and lost by 5. I want to hear it.
We'll be all right.
We're gonna be fine.
We'll be fine.
If you're worried, you shouldn't be as a Duke fan.
No, and I want to break that down, right? So obviously you broke down the field goal percentage. We shot 39 to their 40, right? It's basically the same, right? We shot 17%. We were 4 of 23 from 3. They shot 40%, like you said. We out-rebounded them. We had more steals. We had less turnovers. We had more points off of turnovers.
More points in the paint.
A lot more points in the paint. We missed so many shots that were wide open. And so one of the things, Pobbs, you kind of brought this up, and I want to touch on it. This is one of the things in the UK recap portion of the segment that I want to talk about, is that you touched on some of the Duke fans, going after Shire, right? You and I texted it today about John Shire and the coaching and all that stuff, and I think a lot. We'll get into the overreaction portion, but I want to highlight this part that I think we can all, kind of like dissect the end of game, and that's a constructive session. But let's talk about coaching overall. So yeah, Duke went 4 of 23. John Shire is not out there shooting, but there was a lot of wide open looks that some of our best shooters couldn't hit those shots. That includes Khan. That includes Taylor Foster. That includes Cooper Flagg, who missed 2 in a row, point blank, wide open shots. Tyrese. I mean, Tyrese I almost give a pass to, but he was part of it. Mason Gillis was part of that. So we have great shooters, and they're still great, but they miss point blank shots. You hit 2 of those shots, game's over. we win.
Yeah.
We were tied with 10 seconds to go. And everybody wants to throw John Shire off the ship. Like, just fucking relax.
But I think that's just one of those things, man, that like if you really strip it all down and look at it for what it's worth, bro, like people who talk like that, in my opinion, they don't really know basketball. Cause it's like we said, you know what I'm saying? Like he's not out there. If they're getting open shots, what the fuck more do you want him to do? You want him to go run on the court and fucking catch the ball and go put it in the basket for him? Or you want him to shoot the jumper for him? Or how do you want him to sub in the game? I'm just not sure what they want, you know what I'm saying, what they want to happen. Like, but but I do understand that, you know, when you're the leader of the team, he's the leader of the team, he's the coach, he's the head coach, that you're gonna take, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna get
You're going to
all
take the
the,
shots.
yeah, you're gonna take all the, you know what I'm saying, all that pause. So, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, I get it, you know what I'm saying? I understand that part, but you know, it comes a point in your life where you have to look in the mirror, man, and you got to ask yourself, are you being realistic? You know what I'm saying? Are you being realistic? Are you being fair? You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy. I just don't, that's just one thing that's always bothered me, man. It's just like, I see like when people lose games. Now, it would have been crazy if it was like so many egregious mistakes that he had his team out there doing, like, hey, let's let Kobe Bryant shoot it. Fuck it. Let him, if he's going to shoot it, just leave him wide open. Then I'd be like, okay, come on. Like, what we doing? All right, now let's start blaming Shire if it came out that was the strategy. You know what I'm saying? But no, man, I think, you know what I'm saying? I think he called a beautiful game, just like you said on in our text group. You know what I'm saying? I think he did a great job. You know what I'm saying? The only adjustment that I seen that happen late game was the same thing that Jack just mentioned, as far as like, you know, putting Carr at the 5 and it's pulling Khaman away. That was really the only adjustment, like really in the game. Everything else was just like regular game plan shit. It was regular strategy shit. You know what I'm saying? That, hey, that was decided weeks ago. Hey, this is how we're gonna play against Duke. This is what we're gonna do. This is what we're gonna do. There was no big adjustments. I didn't see any big adjustments. Duke didn't adjust anything. They played the same. You know what I'm saying? The plan was what? You know what I'm saying? Don't let their shooters shoot. You know what I mean? Don't give Jackson Robinson that much space, you know what I'm saying, off the dribble. Run everybody off the line, you know what I'm saying? Just switch everything, stick to your man, and just guard. They did that.
Oh, can I
They
say real
clamped
quick
Robinson, didn't they?
What's that?
Didn't they clamp, like they completely locked up Robinson? He only had like
Bro, he had 1 point.
he had
yeah,
1 point. Yeah, he
is
had
he
Bro,
didn't
shot.
make
he
the field goal,
literally
but
like, and Jackson Robinson is extremely good basketball. Like, he's nice, right? But he looked, I'm not gonna say he looked scared, but he looked like the moment was too bright for him.
can I
The
say
lights
this
were
real
brighter
quick?
than expected.
Yeah.
So AC, everybody that I've read today and has kind of praised UK's 3-point shooting and all these things and kind of knocked Duke's defense. Can I just point out real quick that Kentucky start? Oh, this is here we go. So two things. One, I'm going to go on a soapbox. Then I'm going to give it to you. So Kentucky started 5 for 5 from three, and then for the rest of the game they went 5 of 20. Okay, so on our last podcast, we had this big inter argument here on the podcast. If someone starts out like that, or we start terrible, which both happen, we'd be out of the game. Neither happened. They started out hot as fire. They were 5 of 5 from three. We were not hot as fire. We were still within 2 to 4 points. And then once we started clicking, we took the lead 9, 10, 11 points. Um, and so I think that point is now moot. Where if we play stellar defense and if we play our game, we can handle that anybody, even if we're not shooting well. But now, AC, I want to bring you in on this. So they went 5 of 20 after starting 5 for 5. Where exactly is Kentucky better than Duke? Because they're not, other than a couple defensive breakdowns that we had, 2 injuries, one to Sion with 13 minutes to go. We were up 9. We got an illegal screen. Go back and watch the tape if you don't believe me. They hit the open three to go up 9. That was with about 13 minutes to go. It was 12:50. Con Knipple didn't hit a shot after the 17-minute mark. Missed his last 7. We lost by 5, and those were free throws at the end, and the game was tied with 10 seconds left. Can you please talk to Duke Nation that is freaking out right now?
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, look, like I said before, when the way we started this thing, I said that I think Kentucky, because we figured out our weakness or whatever, they exposed some things from us. Um, the biggest thing is, yes, like you said, we can survive a bad shooting night because the defense is what it is. But in a game this close, you still want to be able to rely on some things. And I'll talk about it more in the weakness section because there's some things I want to see us improve with and see us do better with. But no, I mean, like the game plan that we had coming to this game, we have to stick with it, right? Like I know everybody wants to see Isaiah, everybody wants to see Darren throw them in because we can't shoot, so those two are just gonna fix that problem. Like, man, our best players run the game, okay? Like that's just how that goes. And I think Zion O put on Twitter a video of all the missed shots we had. I mean, the way the offense was designed and devised and everything else, like we got plenty of open shots. So like you said, like we got to hit those things, right? Those are shots we got to hit. Like the John Shire's coaching wasn't the problem. Now, you can have a gripe with, okay, we weren't hitting shots, so can you figure out another way to get shots? Sure, you can have a gripe with that, but I think that's a conversation more for the end of the year when guys are developed a little bit different and a little bit more. That's the thing I want to allude to for when we get to the next section of the pod. But in the meantime, man, like you said, we lost by 5, and we had probably the worst offensive performance we'll have all season. So, you know what? Again, I'll take that now. As long as we can learn from it, I'll take that now. Have it happen now so that we can move on from it.
Yeah.
No pause. No pause. No Vaseline.
Hey, yo.
Jack finishes off here.
Pause.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit.
I set you
The
up with that
technical
one.
foul, TK.
I set you up with that one. All
That
right,
was an
so Jack,
alley-oop.
yeah. Jack, so to close out this segment on the UK recap, say whatever you want to say. Like break down the game, break down where you thought the game kind of turned, break down where Duke could have put this thing away, break down however you saw it. Because I think everybody saw it in their own lens. I obviously said, in our group chat during the game, this game's over because I know a superior team when I see one. That backfired. But did it really backfire, or
You're
was
lucky
it
I
really?
didn't call you out for that last night because I easily
No,
could have.
that's okay. I'll stand by it though. Duke was the superior team in my opinion, but I want to hear from your lens.
I mean, yeah, I'll give you my perspective. It's the guys started to get tired, and the lack of Sion James the last 13 minutes really hurt them. You need that depth. When you go from an 8 deep rotation to a maybe 6 deep rotation, that hurts. It really, really hurts.
Yeah.
You maybe have 6 or 7. You're down Khaman at least most of that second half after Sion's hurt anyway. You have a bunch of these incredibly tired guys who would be rotating out with Sion and Gillis and Malik, but they have to stay in because of these injuries. And, now you have Khan, who is exhausted, attacking Kobe Brea because that was the plan the entire game, which that was a great plan by John because,
I think
obviously he is what he is on
scored
offense.
on. My bad, I didn't mean to cut you off. He got scored
No,
on
you're good.
more than anybody I've seen in college basketball so far this
Yeah,
year.
that was insane. That was actually insane, and it was a great plan by John because he's a very valuable offensive player. He is one of the worst. Like it's just like watching Trae Young playing defense against like LeBron.
Yeah.
Except the
Or
Duke's
anyone.
whole team is LeBron. Here's the
Right.
difference, though. Here's the difference. Duke's whole team was exhausted because they're playing this high level like run and gun game with one guy to help like manage the subs. Like one guy to help like anyone who needs to take a breather. And that I think Sion's injury was really the turning point. Just on that because you can't have Khan just being exhausted. Everyone's like kind of going through the motions half-heartedly, trying to force switches with Brea, and it's at that point it's not going to work. And that they kept going to it, which I mean, honestly they should have, but a tired team isn't going to get things like that done.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Let's go to the team weaknesses because I think that's an area that we can get for this segment. that AC, I'll kick it to you here because there are definitely things that I think that we can touch upon. One of mine before I get to UAC is I thought at the very end of the game, and I know Coach P wants to talk about this as well. I thought that John called a phenomenal game. I thought at the end of the game, and maybe to Jack's point, it was the fact that we were tired, but I thought it was a little bit too much one-on-one. Go to Coop, and we're just going to sit there and watch Coop instead of kind of running some other things, even if it's decoy, run some other things. I thought it was a lot, and just throw the ball to Coop and have the 17-year-old make the play. He was the most talented guy on the floor. It was not even remotely close. I think that's a great strategy. Having said that, if you have some other things to kind of trick the defense to not have them collapse on him, which they did in the last 3-4 possessions, that would have benefited us a little bit more. It's not the reason we lost the game. Like anybody that's saying that is nuts. I've heard comparisons to the Jason Tatum game, when we lost to NC State, like at home. Like, just shut the fuck up. Like that is such a weak argument. I don't like that kind of crap. I think it's weak sauce. I'll go back.
Can I really quickly cut you off?
Yeah.
I just want to say this. If you are comparing this loss to that loss, you have no idea what you're talking about. That game was a culmination of just passive play, a bunch of guys really just struggling to gel, and the chemistry on and off court not being great, combined with the fact that they just lost to a team that hadn't won a game at Cameron in a very long time. This is completely different. This is a game in November. That was in what, February?
Yeah, and
This
with
is
the
a game.
Dennis Smith, with the
Yeah,
Dennis Smith Jr.
it was Dennis Smith Jr.
Who wanted to go
Yeah,
to Duke. He had a chip on
but
his shoulder.
this isn't that though. This is a game in November against a ranked team in a neutral site where the crowd very much favored the opponent, as opposed to a game in Cameron in February against an unranked team with a losing record. You can check me on that. I don't remember if they were that bad that year, but that was not a good state team, and this is a good Kentucky team. I don't want to hear any comparisons like that.
Yeah, it's weak sauce. But AC, this is your segment here. Break down the weaknesses that you saw, and then go right to Coach P.
I mean, first and foremost, honestly, call me weak sauce. I don't disagree with what people are saying on the surface, right? On the surface, we lost a basketball game because we weren't capable of doing some things that we probably will be able to do later on. So I'm not going to say that we can never fix these things and can never do these things right. And I think that's where maybe the rhetoric needs to back itself off. Like, it's okay to say for what it was for that one game, and then the other part can still be true. Both things can still exist. We still lost a game because we weren't able to do anything other than force feed Cooper Flagg at the end of the game. We just weren't, because people were tired, because we need to develop some other things, because we need to develop some other forms to score, because we need to maybe look at who's running the team and who's not running the team. There's a lot of those things that exist, and it can exist right now and then can be different later on. So I'm not going to say it's weak sauce to say it because it happened in the game. We lost a game because of it. So move forward, right? Next play. Let me hit the button.
Next play.
Right? That's what we do. We learn from it. That's why I say I'm glad that this happened 3 games into our season, because now we get to learn from it for the next 37. So back to that, a couple of the places that I think this team will and can evolve, right? When you look at national championship teams, every national championship team has a couple of things. Every national championship team evolves from November to March. You can't stay the same to start the season and just be the same at the end of the season and just think you're just going to be that good and win a title. It's too difficult to win a title that way. I mean, look at the 99 team with Duke. If you look at that team, for the most part, they kind of just were who they were all season because they just beat so many people down. There was never really much of an evolution because they didn't have to. And then they still almost won that championship game, right? Like, that's probably the closest you can come to being, but you have to be that historic, right? You have to be that historically good to do something like that. And so this team has so many places to go, and that's why I'm so excited about them. Like, first and foremost, we talked about it on Spaces Pobs. One thing I want to see with this team is the evolution of, let's learn how to get some post touches outside of stuff on the move, outside of baseline actions, outside of pick and roll. Like, we have a 7'2", 250-pound monster. Like, can we at some point be able to throw him the ball on the block and just say, go get this dude? I think we'll be able to do that. I think that's something that will develop because we've seen Khaman Maluach. We watched his tape. He was able to do that in the African League. I know it's a different level, but the footwork exists, the potential exists, and the ability exists for him to do something like that at the collegiate level, even if it's just for 5, 6, 7, 8 points. Like, I'm not saying we need to have 30 points from Khaman all on the block. I'm not saying he needs to be Jaleel Okafor. I am saying that needs to be a threat because if you can't shoot, you got to be able to go to something else. And that's where I do have a gripe with people yelling at John. Like 3 games in, man, like this team obviously hasn't developed that part of their game yet. The first 3 games of the season, there's not a single block touch right now for Khaman Maluach. It's not one. So, that's something that I think can and will and needs to change because you look back in recent history, national championship teams outside of probably you could say 2018 Villanova all have some form of a post player who can put their back to the basket and score. So that's one place I want to see the evolution. The other place I'll just touch on real quick. And I thought Caleb Foster actually had a good first half of this game. I thought he was one of the reasons why we were up by 9 points because of his floor game. But
phenomenal defense too.
He did. One thing that does take away from him is his scoring ability. And we talked about him being the leading scorer of this team to start the season. I think he's almost kind of in that Tyrese mode where when he's being asked to run the team exclusively, the way he has been, especially the way he was this last game, I think that's hard for him to be able to score and facilitate and defend. I don't know that he's quite ready for that role yet. So do we see an evolution where the ball goes more towards Tyrese's hand? And I honestly think it might. I think right now he is playing his role of off-ball shooter and everything else. But I wrote an article about it before when Tyrese is not being asked to be the main scorer, but he could still run the team. He was a great facilitator. Turnover percentage was low, and he was able to shoot at a very high clip, 42% or something like that. When he was not the main scorer. When he was the main scorer, it dropped all the way down to like 24% from 3. So, and I know, Chris Patola and Jay Billis, they're all saying his best game is just being a catch and shoot shooter. I don't think that's true. I think Tyrese Proctor is a lot more than just a catch and shoot shooter. Sure. I know his weakness is scoring at the rim. That's okay. We don't need him to do that. If he's going to facilitate and if he's going to be still an option to be able to hit catch and shoot shots after he distributes the ball, I'm cool with that. Like, that's perfect. That's exactly what he needs to do. But I'm not saying that Caleb can't run the team. I'm just saying that I think his scoring is so important that I think we need, if the next few games continues to show that it's just too much for him to facilitate and to defend and to score at a high clip, then let's move him off the ball and let Tyrese run the team. That's just my opinion.
So you want to kind of flip-flop it?
If it proves to not work, right? Whatever doesn't work, fix it. Like I am of that mindset, right? Like for my job, it's if something isn't working, you fix that something that's not working, and then you move forward, right? Pops, in your military service, I know in the military they preach that if this ain't working, we got to do something different. So all I'm saying is, I'm not saying that Caleb's not capable. I'm not shitting on Caleb. I'm not saying that he can't do something. All I'm saying is, if it's proving to not work, if he is still inefficient in these next few big games that we play, then let's move him off the ball and see if something changes. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying bench him. I'm not saying take him out. I'm saying let's move him off the ball and see if that helps.
All right, Pops.
Yeah, I mean, I feel you on that. I think there's some things that could be kind of tweaked a little bit. As far as like what you mentioned, the post touches and stuff, like, yeah. I mean, I think it would be cool to see Khaman get some more post touches. Mm-hmm. I do like Cooper in the mid post area. I think he
for
does
sure.
work
You don't change that, right?
Mid. Yeah, no,
you don't take those things. You don't take those things away, and that's not what I'm suggesting. I'm not suggesting we take that part of our game away because that's what makes this team so dangerous. What I'm suggesting is in a night like this where we can't hit a single shot from the outside, and that's going to happen. It's going to happen again. It's going to happen again. Maybe not to this degree, but there is going to be another night where it's going to be tough shooting. Like, we cannot shoot, and the way that Kentucky was just able to just hang out on the perimeter on us on defense instead of just guarding the mid post or guarding the block. They just got to hang out on our 3-point shots. So we can take that element from their defense away if we have an option to get a block touch and make them have to at least look down at the rim.
Yeah. No, I'm cool with that. I definitely think Khaman should get some touches in the post a little bit, but I don't know. I don't know if that's gonna happen or not. You know what I'm saying? I do think that he's capable of scoring some baskets down there and shit too. At least get him some shit to where he's rolling and he's pinning his man down close to the rim and doing something like that. And make it even easier. All he has to do is just go up and just dunk the ball because he's so tall and so big.
Mhm.
Pause. So I mean, it's a
You just
bunch of
need a
different
couple
things.
of those plays just to keep a team honest. I'm not saying we go to 14, 15 Jaleel Okafor where he has to touch the ball
Yeah,
every
yeah,
single
yeah, yeah,
possession
yeah.
to make the offense work. I'm not saying that whatsoever. I'm saying we gotta have that as an option to be able to throw the ball down to him for a
Yeah, I
couple of
definitely
plays to
think
keep the defense
that happen.
honest.
I definitely think we should see some of that, man. I think it only and it only does, good things for Duke. You know what I'm saying? It can open up a lot of different things for Duke, you know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
he's a pretty decent passer out of
Mm-hmm.
that. So, out of the post. So I think it'll do the thing. But with Wonder Boy Coop though,
Yeah, no,
man,
you
I
still let
just
him do his thing,
you
man.
know, yeah, I mean, I don't have
Coop
no
Cook.
problem with him going ISO. You know what I'm saying? Like if you,
Not me either.
I'm literally watching the game over again right now. Like literally watching the
Mm-hmm.
game,
Me
and
too.
Yeah.
I've seen three ISO plays already, and he scored on all three. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So,
Like,
Pops, what I wanted to talk to you about is something that you said in our group text is that people don't think that Cooper is this one-on-one guy because he's so versatile, and then he's a well-rounded player and he does a lot of everything. But you want to dismiss that real quick and say, no, this guy is good enough to go one-on-one in crunch time.
yeah, I mean, absolutely, he's good enough to go 1-on-1. I mean, he's Cooper Flag, bro. Like, I mean, I think the narrative is, you know what I'm saying, he's not this 1-on-1 guy, whatever, whatever. Yeah, that's not he's more of a team guy. That's not what he's done. Is he capable of doing it? Yeah, he's shown that he's capable of doing it, you know what I'm saying? But I think that, a lot of people they just want to throw this narrative on him like, "Oh yeah, no, he needs to be going downhill and all this other stuff." Dude, fuck that. He's a basketball player. You know what I'm saying? Go get your money. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? Like,
Yep.
give him the ball and let him cook. You know what I'm saying? That's the end. That's it. At the end of the day, like I told you, I'm literally watching the game right now, and he's cooking Carr. You know what I'm saying? 1-on-1,
Yeah.
straight up 1-on-1, and they switching. He's still cooking. You know what I mean? So it's
Yep.
like, bro, like, what are we talking about, bro? Like, he's capable of doing it. Can he do it at the level that Kyrie Irving does it at? Hell no. You know what I'm saying?
Who
But
can?
at the end of the day,
No one
what I mean,
can.
he can still do it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
come on
Yeah.
now. You know what I mean? Like people I don't know, bro. Like I just get confused, man. Like I think they get it confused with, you know what I mean? Like you get a basketball player, right? And you want to play him to his strength, right? And there's some things that he does great, like Cooper is phenomenal in the open court, you know what I'm saying, on the break and transition, phenomenal. He's a finisher, you know what I'm saying, a high level finisher, and you want to play to that. Okay, I got that. But that doesn't mean that he can't break you down in the half court though. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't understand that logic right there, man. People just really they get it confused, man. They really get it confused, and it's kind of crazy, you know what I mean? He about to cross him up right here, I think. Cross jumper. Like, what are we talking
Yeah.
about?
He had an incredible game, dog. He had
He
an
literally
incredible game.
did this all. He literally did this all game, bro. So why wouldn't he get a chance to do it at the end of the
Right.
game?
I got a
And the
couple
fact that
texts.
he's capable of doing that. Sorry, go ahead, TJ.
No, no,
Court.
no. I was just gonna say that I was getting a couple texts after the game from some of my Maryland friends that are haters, obviously, and they're like, "Oh,
Rent
this guy
free.
stinks," and I go, "Wait a minute, hold on. The guy that had 26 and 12, like you're telling me that that guy stinks? Like, are you
Right.
serious? Because he slipped on the floor at the end where everybody was slipping.
Right.
Like get out of here." But I guess the point is, AC, is that to Pop's point. He does everything, and one of the things that I
Mhm.
really enjoyed last night when I was watching this is that, like, you watch him, you know where he's trying to go. He gets to his spots. It reminds me of Kobe, where, like, he knows where he wants to get to. He's going to get there, and he's so confident in his preparation going into this that he's going to get
Mhm.
to his spot and he's going to hit. And this is, I think that was the one where it was like two in a row that he missed there of the threes for the
Mhm.
people that are watching. Um, and those were some of the things that I brought up earlier. Like there were 2 point blank shots that, yeah, like he's capable of hitting. He didn't. Khan missed quite a few as well. Caleb missed four.
Mhm.
But anyway, go ahead, AC. Whatever you were going to say.
No, it's just like it's what we've talked about this with Cooper Flag, right? And it's before the season when shit's sweet, when nobody's lost or won. it's great to talk about the things, and then people get mad when you want to talk about it in any other way after you lose a game or whatever. But it's what we said with Coop. He can have a game where he scores 2 points, but he's going to have 10 rebounds, 8 assists, 6 blocks, yada yada yada, right? Like that's going to happen for him. And then there's going to be games like this where he scores 26 for us because he needs to win the game for us. Like he willed so many of those shots in, and that's something we talked about him in the offseason. Like his ability, his will, his competitive spirit he's gonna make a lot of shots simply because of that, not even because of talent. And so, yeah, like I have no gripe with us going to him at the end of the game the way we did, because that was the best option, because no one else was able to score or available to score or whatever else. And that's where like some of those things need to change. Like the stamina is going to get better as the season wears on, right? We're talking about freshmen. This is their first game of this caliber in their lives. And so, yeah, like their legs got tired this game. It happened, but that doesn't mean their legs are tired for the rest of the season. And that's only going to make their stamina go up. It's only going to make their mental focus go up. All those things that it takes to win a game like this, those things are all going to go up. And John is going to learn from this as a coach. He's going to learn how to best set Coop up, how to best set the other guys up to help Coop, so that he doesn't have to do this play after play after play. But 1 or 2 possessions to end the game, you absolutely want him to be able to do it. Like you look at the Orlando Magic, man. Like with Paolo, like every play doesn't go to Paolo in crunch time. Sometimes the Wagner brothers got to do something so it takes the attention off of Paolo. And so that's what's going to happen with this team, is that we're going to be able to do that and help take the attention off Coop. So then when we need to go back to it for another possession, he's ready. He's got it. So I have no gripe with what he did. I have no gripe with John relying on him, because it was what we needed in the moment.
Yeah, Jack, I wanted to bring you in on this one because I think a lot of the weakness, so to speak, and a lot of complaints were obviously on the end of game situation. So, in your opinion, honestly, went to Coop, said, "Hey, you're our best player. You're the best player in the country. Go win it for us." Do you have a problem with that, or do you say, okay, maybe John could have done something a little bit different, and maybe that could be a weakness? Because I think that, in my opinion, as much as this game is a learning experience for our team, it's also a learning experience for our coaches. And I thought John did a great job, but I want to hear your thoughts on that.
I think that when it comes down to that, you want the ball in your best player's hands, and sometimes it works. Yeah, I was waiting for that. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it works. You look at Grayson Allen against UVA, his sophomore year. Sometimes it doesn't. You look at RJ Barrett, those two games that Duke lost in 2018-19. Like RJ Barrett was a better all-around player than Zion. I know this is going to be considered a hot take, but K had the ball in his hands down the stretch a lot over the course of that season. You put the ball in the hands of the person who you think has the best chance of doing something good with it. And
Who's Alabama going to put the ball in at the end of the game? Who are they going to give the ball to? Are they going to give it to Cliff Amore, or are they going to let Mark Sears do his job? Yes, Mark Sears. Mark Sears is National Player of the Year candidate. Like, of course you're going to give it to Mark Sears.
Yeah, right. Go to Sears. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for saying that a lot more eloquently than me, AC.
Who did Kentucky put the ball in at the end of the game? They gave it to Carr. Like, he's probably one of their best interior scorers. He had the ball at the end of the game. They didn't give it to Kobe Bray, as good of a shooter as he is. Kerr Carissa wasn't the one shooting the ball at the end of the game. It was Carr, because they saw what they could do down there on the low. Like, Andrew Carr is probably their best offensive player, honestly. I'm really being serious about that. With what he can do inside and out at 6'11", it's one of the things that made NC State so good last year. I know DJ Burns was the focus or whatever, but
it was DJ Horn that was NDR and Middlebrooks and
Diarra becoming an offensive option. Yeah. Him becoming an offensive option for NC State at 6'11" was a nightmare for teams. And then he got caught up by having to fast for Ramadan. So, you know what I mean? Like, maybe we're talking about NC State being in a title game if he didn't have that happen. But either way, what I'm saying is, you do, like you said, Jack, you put the ball in your best player's hands. Every other team in the nation is going to do it, and it's going to be to a different effect. Some people are going to be happy with the result, and some people are going to be mad about the result. So as of right now, we're mad because we lost as a fan base or whatever. We're mad about the result of putting the ball in Cooper Flagg's hands, but God damn it, we can't be so excited about Cooper Flagg to start the season and then be mad when he has the ball in his hands. That's our best player, man.
Yeah.
Shut up.
You have a
not only-
secondary. You have a secondary option too, which a lot like it was Butler last night or Owe, depending on who was on the court, who also had a great game, by the way. But for Duke, I mean, I think the bigger question for
Look,
Duke
we
isn't
haven't even
who's the
talked about
guy.
that. I guarantee
The question
Khan
is
comes
who's the
back from
second
this
guy.
game on a vengeance. Khan comes back
Yeah.
from this game on a vengeance.
Yeah, so like that's one of
Arizona's gonna be special for Khan. Watch.
Oh yeah,
yeah, I agree. So that was one of the things I wanted to talk about is, I kind of opened the segment up or opened the podcast up with the fact that Khan Knuppel, one of the best shooters in the country, one of the best shooters we've had. He went 5 of 20. He missed his last 7 shots. Multiple
he's
of those
never gonna
were
have
wide
another
open
game like
shots.
that.
So we lost by 5 points. The last 3 were free throws at the end. It was time with 10 seconds to go. Knuppel missed the front end of a 1-and-1. Do I expect that to happen again? No. There's nothing that frustrates me more than missing the front end of a 1-and-1, especially with a guy that's probably going to be a 95% free throw shooter. So, those things happen. It was a perfect storm, but we lost by 5. Like, that's kind of following up from our last podcast. Like, we have so many ingredients, and I think that there are areas where we're just scratching the surface on defense, and that's our strength. Our defense is our strength. But I do want to get to a topic that I think Cobbs wants to weigh in on, and that's the Isaiah Evans, Darren Harris, and potentially Pat. Where Cobbs, if you're still listening, um, where can, especially if Sion is out for a while, where can one of these guys step in, create a role for themselves, and then say, you know what, I'm playing so well, you can't take me out of the rotation because John has his 8. We already know that. John has his 8. We said that after game 1. John has his 8. Where
Yeah,
can he go?
so I'm at the belief of a lot of people are saying, oh, they should sub them in to, these guys are tired to sub them in, but if we're going to sub them in, they have to be able to play. So the only thing I'll say is this, man, is I think, and I'm going to speak for Isaiah, right? I think in a situation like last night, it's perfect for him. He thrives in those type of situations. He's that type of player. You know what I mean? Big time player. And Darren as well, but I think Isaiah more like shit talking, like the lights are bright, like you need buckets. That's his shit. You know what I'm saying? That is exactly what he is and exactly what he does. You know what I mean? So I think he would have been perfect. You know what I mean? All he had to do was probably see a bucket or two to, you know what I'm saying, go in the basket. You know what I mean? A shot or two go in the basket, and that shit would have opened up for him. Pause. You know what I'm saying? And he would have just went crazy. You know what I mean? So I do think that we have to find a way to implement these guys somehow and get them some minutes, either early or late, or in the middle of the game somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Because it can only help us. You know what I'm saying? If we get these guys minutes, because we can't have Coop play 32 minutes, Khan play 37 minutes. There's only 40 minutes in the game, bro.
Yeah.
Like you telling me that Khan only was out for 3 minutes, bro? Now I wonder why he couldn't hit no fucking shots. You know what I'm saying? Motherfucker, I was tired watching him, and I didn't play. You know what I'm saying? So shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I get it. You know what I mean? I think it's like, damn, man. Like I think that is the only thing that I not even a question. Not questioning it, but you know what I'm saying? I think that's not one of them. I have 2 things that I would say that we could have did better as far as like rotation and just another assignment thing. But rotation wise, I think Darren and Isaiah should get minutes because Darren he's a different type of shooter. You know what I mean? He's a different type of shooter. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and both guys, right? And the thing about both guys, right, is that nothing is gonna sway them. You know what I'm saying? They can miss the first 5. They gonna shoot the next 5 too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And them motherfuckers might go in. You know what I'm saying? More than likely they'll go in because they're confident guys and they can help us. They can definitely help us. So I think we got to find a way to get them some minutes, man. I really believe that.
you hit the nail right on the head with that because, like you said with Isaiah, like that's the type of game. Like they had Kirk Reese out there bobbing his head around and stuff, and he only hit 2 shots. Like Isaiah is gonna be out there pulling buckets and just demoralizing the other team when he plays them, and he can do that. He's the of the two, he's the one who can do that type of thing, where he can combine the ability and the smack talk to back that whole thing up. And in a game like last night, that's what you needed because there were a couple of chances in that second half for us to bury them and put the game away, and we weren't able to do it. Like we weathered a couple of their storms, we weathered a couple of their runs, and that was already demoralizing enough. And then if we could have extended the lead, make some plays to push the lead forward, we're talking about a different game. We're talking about a different outcome, and we're not talking about John Shire's job and all the other stuff that's happening right now. So with Isaiah, absolutely. And then Darren, like you said, like somebody like you don't need to play Darren 30 minutes. You don't need to play him 20 minutes. 5 minutes of Darren is effective because he can get 6 points in 5 minutes off 2 threes. Like, and he'll hit.
He's not going to make any mistakes either. You know what I'm saying?
Not because especially because of how he's bred from Paul to 6. Like
exactly.
He can play. So this is where like Jay, because he gets mad when you say Jason. Jesus. Jay Williams said, first and foremost, he said during halftime, he said that this team reminded him so much of the early 2000s Duke teams, like the ones he played for and some of the ones he watched before he got there and some of the ones after him. He said it reminds him of an early 2000s Duke team. And I wholeheartedly agree. That's why I always compare this team to 04-05. But then one of the things he said after the game is John's going to learn. He has to learn how to use the tools that he has at his disposal. This team is very different from the last 2 seasons because last 2 seasons were decimated by injuries and mental mistakes and mental fatigue. And now you have a team that is ready and has the pieces and parts to be a championship caliber team. And you got to trust those pieces and parts sometimes. Doesn't mean it's every game. Doesn't mean it's 35 minutes for everybody. Sometimes it means take a gamble, put a guy in for a minute and take a gamble and let's see how that plays out. So I think, like I said, I'm glad this happened in November because I really do. And then, I think there can be a silver lining on Cian being out as much as that sucks. I think there can be a silver lining to that where somebody develops something that allows John the trust. And we haven't even talked about Pat Ngongba. I think Pat Ngongba, they made him available. They said he is available. Release that statement that he is available for the game. Now, was he going to get his first minutes in that game the first time he's played on this foot in a collegiate? No, he's not. Like Wofford's going to be the first time Pat Ngongba plays. But moving forward, it's awesome to be able to have that because what that does is that moves Malik Brown now out of the post and lets him guard the whole floor, which is his natural position. Exactly. And now he gets to guard somebody like Andrew Carr instead of having to be chained to the post. And he gets to play him a little more effectively. So now that makes us even more dangerous on defense. So, Pat, it looks like he's going to get back. Looks like he's going to actually play and see some minutes. And I think he can give us 5 or 6 minutes in a game at least to just be some fouls and just be a body. And he's more than that. He's more than capable of doing that.
Yeah, also, AC, those 5 fouls, that he gives us on 5 minutes is what I meant to say. Like, those 5 minutes.
But 5 fouls was right, too.
Right, it is. But, but those 5 minutes, Malik Brown had 3 fouls in the first half.
Yep.
Malik Brown is one of the most elite defenders in college basketball.
Yep.
So he's not going to be a guy that is foul prone and forgets how to play defense without fouling. No, he's an all ACC, all national type of defender. Mm-hmm. But like you guys said, he's playing out of position. If Pat comes in and gives us, a couple minutes and a half, like that allows Malik, if he's in there at the same time, to be able to play off the 5 and be the disruptive force that he's capable of being. Do you know how good that makes, Duke?
Absolutely, and genuinely, Pat Ngongba is like his minutes on the floor are really going to equate to extra fouls. Like this season, that's what that's going to equate to, because the other things that we have and the other guys that we have are just they're so talented and they just offer something so different. But he's a really good player. We did his player profile. We talked about that. Like He's so sound, just like Darren. He doesn't make mistakes. He comes from that type of a system in high school basketball. Like, and he was invited to all the All-Star games, played on the U18 team or whatever, after not having played basketball for a year and a half. That tells you what kind of an asset he is. He's actually a really good player. Whatever you want to say about him, the dude is an amazing player. Like, he made all these teams without having played basketball for a year and a half. So he gets his feet under him now. No pun intended, but he gets his feet under him now and all that. I think, like I said, I think Wofford. I think you'll see some time for him against Wofford. And if John sees some things in that game that he likes, then I think he'll play him these couple of minutes we're talking about against Arizona. But I do think against Arizona, we're going to have a very similar game plan and a very similar rotation to what we had against Kentucky. We're only talking about a week removed from this game. John is not just going to completely change his spots after this one game. He's still going to do the things that he thinks is right. So a week away from this game, yeah, I think we're going to see some of the same stuff. But maybe against Auburn, maybe moving forward, as we move forward throughout the season, in some of these more high-profile games, you'll see John, go into the cupboard a little bit more.
Antonio Vrankovich played against Carolina. Christian Reeves played against Purdue.
Absolutely.
I didn't realize that Christian Reeves played anything other than CTC, who's a Hall of Famer. But I will say this, that, Jack, I want to get to you on this one. To kind of wrap this segment up, one of the things that that a lot of people were going back and forth with, and we touched on it a little bit earlier, that John Shirer's, kind of end of game coaching strategy, is it a weakness? Is it not a weakness? Coach P talked about it as well. Where do you see the end of game scenarios going? Because I kind of look at it as I see both sides of this. I see where, give Coop the ball. He's the best player in the country. Give him the ball and watch what happens. The other side, and kind of the initial side that I came from, was, you can still give him the ball, but also run some sets. Where do you see that? Is that a weakness? Is that something that John needs to figure out? Where do you see it?
Honestly, I'm not sure. It's a tough spot because you wanna give your best player their best chance to score down the stretch. But I would have liked to see a play or two run during that last couple minutes instead of just ISO Coop every time down. I don't know if I want to call that a weakness necessarily, more of like a work in progress than a weakness.
It's less, work in progress is the best way to put it, Jack. Less of a weakness and more
Thank you,
of
I see.
inexperience. It's inexperience, right?
This
this
is his third year coaching. There's only so
he's
many
3
close
years
games.
in. Like, we're acting like he's been around for 9 years, man.
I would
Like,
call. Can I call it AC? Can I call it a trial and error?
Trial and error, like
that's exactly what it is. It's
50-50, whatever you want to say. It's still an experience. Like, Coach K learned that eventually. He learned that skill eventually of how to trust your guys, or how he said it himself. Like, this is not me making it up for him. Coach K has said this himself about learning to trust his guys, or learning to feel the game. He always talked about the game being like music, like jazz music, where you're just learning, and then you become one with the music. And then when you're one with the music, you're now Miles Davis, and you're not just some guy on a saxophone. Like, that's where John is. That's what Jason Williams is talking about. It's like, learn to trust your guys. Like, learn to let the game dictate what you do. You can't always dictate the game. And I think that's what we've seen early on. Like, he's got so much pressure, and against these veteran coaches, he got so much pressure to make a name for himself. And he's going to have a lot of opportunities to do it this year because he put the schedule together and how he wanted to do it. So I think
put a great schedule together.
Absolutely, he did. So I think at some point he will learn how to just go with the game and flow with the game. But on the same part of that, the guys are going to have to prove to him that they are also worthy of being given those minutes and given that time. Because obviously right now he, like we said, he had his 8, and those 8 have shown him what he wants to see. Now the other guys got to show him too if they want to play. It's a double-edged sword.
You trust who you trust, man. That's how basketball is, though, man. It's like you trust who you trust, and that's who you go with.
Yep.
And that's just, what I mean? Honestly, as a former coach and shit, that is most coaches' fatal flaw. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Is that
Mhm.
you trust who you trust and you're gonna go with that. You don't give a damn if they played 78 minutes out of the
Yeah.
40. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it's like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like I can recall a time. This is no bullshit where I told one of my kids, man, my kid told me he was tired, right? So I kind of looked at him. I just told him, okay, what do you want me to do? Sub you out? I was like, man, shut the fuck up. Get in the game and
Mhm.
fucking play
Mhm.
through it. You'll be all
Yeah.
right. Another kid came, oh, coach, I twisted my ankle. I said, well, which one is it? The right one. I said, okay, well, fucking use the left one. You'll be all right.
Yeah.
Go out there and play. You know what I mean? That's just what you do. You just gotta get through it. You know what I'm saying? And a
But
lot of coaches, that's what we do. You know what I'm saying? We just like, hey, I understand they're tired, but guess what? It's basketball. You know what I'm saying? I played the game. You know, John played the game. He played through being tired, and guess what? He won a national championship. So
exactly.
when
John played
it's no
professionally through
excuses,
partial
bro.
blindness.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like
It's no excuses, bro. It's like I don't care if you're tired. I don't care if only one lung is inflated.
yeah.
Fucking play. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't
Like, do you
matter. You know
think
what I'm
JJ
saying?
Redick's senior season, Coach K was gonna sub JJ out for Sean Dockery when he needs buckets? No.
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 He should
No.
have sent
You
him
don't
out for
do
leading
that.
up
And
and
that's
early,
not
but
what
that's
right, but that's not what depth means. And I think that's what people take depth as I need to sub Cooper Flagg out of the game. No, you
I
don't.
think
You don't.
I think so. AC or Jack, I guess. 'Cause Jack initially started
Go
this
ahead,
thing
go
with
with
you.
Jack.
Yeah. One of the things that I saw, if you're not on our Discord, please get on the Discord. The game chats are phenomenal. So please get on the Discord for that. They are electrifying. You'll see everything and anything you want to see. But Jack, one of the things I saw there was that we should have played. We should have subbed in Darren Harris or Isaiah Evans much earlier in the game. I I responded back in the game chat. I go, where are you going to who are you going to sub him for right now?
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think
that's the
it's not
question.
one of those. You know what I mean? It's not one of those things where it's like, oh, it's just easy enough to be like, oh, I'm going to take Khan out, who's over his last 7, and sub in somebody that hasn't played for 33 minutes. It's not that
Yeah,
easy.
you want to put someone who's completely cold into the game instead of someone who maybe isn't making the shots in the same way that you expect them to, but is still in the game and like is warmed up. There's an adjustment period. If you don't play most of the game and you have to check in late, there is an adjustment period in any sport. Like
Mhm.
I've experienced this, I'm sure you guys all have too, playing a sport. You come into a game and in a late situation where you haven't been super active most of the game. Like
It's
it's
one
not
of the
easy.
most difficult things to do. It's so
Yeah, thank
difficult.
you. Yes. And like putting a guy like Isaiah Evans who takes a couple of shots to heat up anyway,
Mhm.
throwing him into that, not a great idea. Darren might be a little easier just because he's got such a fluid and like repeatable motion, but even with that, it takes time to like get your body, into game shape even during a game.
Go ahead, AC.
Yeah, no, that's it. Jack hit the nail on the head, man. But that's what you're asking these guys to do, and that like they have to do their job. Like that's the tough part about it. It's, in baseball, you ask the pinch hitter to come in, and you need to get an RBI. Like it is what
That
it
is the
is.
absolute toughest thing I've ever done in
Right,
any sport.
right. I'm sorry that you're put in this position, but you got to do it. And so you embrace that role, or you shy from it. And if they're not embracing the role, then they're not playing. And so that's what like you said, TK, and like the game chat when people are like, just put those guys in if they're not playing and if they haven't played by a certain point of the game, then that means it's not a part of the game plan. And chances are you're not going to see them. And that's not just John Shire. That's every coach in the NCAA. Now, if they become part of the game plan, then now we're talking about something different.
Yeah, the other thing is I feel like the analogy I've always used is when you're playing a video game and you see someone's life battery, and you gotta go
Mm-hmm.
so many different steps and go get more battery, more battery, more battery, and if you sit for a little bit, you'll get more battery. It's not that. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
I wish it was. It's like, oh, if he only played 32 minutes every game instead of 37 minutes a game, like by the time the 38th game around, he would have all that stuff sorted. No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works, and it's never how it worked. Like you have to build your stamina, you have to do these things, and it's the same in the inverse, where you can't just throw a player in an intense game who's been sitting for 28, 29, 32 minutes and be like, oh, put him back and play for us. Like, that's not how it works. And I think it goes back to the Andre Dawkins scenario when he came on this podcast and talked about it. Everybody knew what their role was. Everybody knew what they were going to do. And so AC, I mean, to me, yeah, John has his 8, but now one of his 8 is injured.
Right.
So
And
now
I
it's time
think
to
Well, we don't have any official word on that, do we?
No, of course not. But are you talking about the injury? No, no, not yet. But let's. I don't think we're gonna see Sion play on Saturday. I mean, knowing Duke, I don't think that happens. But that just gives an opportunity for a player of Darren Harris or Isaiah Evans to come out and say, "Okay, I'm gonna play in that spot and play well enough where you have to play me now. You can't
I
take
would
me out
like
of
that.
rotation."
Yeah, I mean, like, look, they're going to play against Wofford because it's Wofford. We're gonna get to the Wofford
Correct.
preview. They're gonna play because it's Wofford. Here's the thing, right? Do they play against Arizona the next game? That's what I want to see. I want
That's
to
the
see
real
if
question.
I want to see if they have put themselves in a position, Sion in or out. Like, if John doesn't trust them, even with Sion out, he is not gonna play them. Like, that's just what's gonna happen. Like, they're not gonna get a single minute if John doesn't trust them in big game situations. He's already played them in 2 games. They played against Maine. They played against Army. But John didn't play him against Kentucky. So when it comes to Arizona, like, we've watched enough Duke basketball. We know the answer to this question. He is not going to play them against Arizona if he doesn't feel like he can. Wofford or not. Wofford's that's not the jumping off point. Practice is the jumping off point. Them coming to him saying, put me in, man. I'm going to help this team win. That's the jumping off point. It's a two-way street. It's not just John. The players got to show it and prove it too. So what are they going to do? Let's see what happens.
Go ahead, Pops.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you guys are all right, bro. Like, honestly, I think overall, bro, and this is no bullshit, I'm really encouraged by what I saw. And I think Duke is gonna really be out for blood, bro. Like the next few games, I kind of, well, I feel sorry for Wofford, however you say their name. It really don't matter. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause they might beat their ass so bad they might drop the W off they fucking first of their name anyway. You know what I mean? So they might just be Wofford. So I don't fucking know.
Oh my goodness.
You know what I'm saying?
And
So
it's the first school that ever offered Zion Williamson a scholarship.
okay, well, they might never offer a potential
And
Duke
they beat Carolina twice.
well, good on them.
So we salute them.
Yeah, absolutely salute. But honestly, it might be another Diddy party, bro. I ain't even gonna front. It might just
They did
happen.
lose their coach to Virginia Tech.
Shit, while you bullshitting this game might be Epstein Island, bro. I'm not sure, bro. Like this might get crazy.
Oh,
Pause,
It's gonna get ugly.
And no low blow. Pause. You know what I'm saying? And hey, don't take that out of context, y'all. I know how y'all get out there in the Twitter sphere. You know what I'm saying? Don't take that out of context. Nah, real
that's
rap.
wild.
Yeah, that is wild. But real rap though, man. I think they woke up. I think they woke up some demons, man. I really think they woke up some demons, and shit. You might see. Now we might see the Caleb Foster that we want to see. You know what I'm saying? The Caleb Foster that's like, okay, fuck all this facilitating shit. I'm about to score. I'm about to put up buckets. And I think that's only going to help Duke. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly.
I don't think, and that's the thing is like I'm curious as to what John Shire probably told the team or whatever. But I can imagine it'd be something like, hey, don't hang your heads. Pause. That was wild. You know what I mean? Don't hang your head.
Hang your head. That's not a pause.
That's a pause.
That's not
B.
a pause.
It's
not a pause.
Ow. You know what? I'm going to answer that. Go ahead.
I fucking forgot what I was saying, but whatever.
Caleb
You know what I'm
Foster,
saying?
being the player, and John
Yeah,
Shire.
I think that John Shire probably just gave the kids a good message, and not to hang your head, pause, and it's like, hey, this is what it is. This is the start. This is the start of the season, and you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, national championship, bro. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. So this is what it is, bro. You know what I'm saying? This is what we facing. I know I said 40-0, so I'm going 39-1 for the season.
There you
Straight
go.
up.
Yeah, long. I mean, there's no reason for anybody to lose confidence at this point. I
Nah,
mean,
hell.
you know, honestly, we came away. I not we, because I can't speak for everybody, right? I came away encouraged.
Me
I
too.
looked at that game. I came
Same.
away from that game being like, we were the better team by far in that game. We didn't figure it out at the very end of the game, and that's fine. The game, the game was tied with 10 seconds to go. We had the ball with our best player. He slipped. Everybody slipped on that damn court. Figure that shit out. Number one. Um, and you live with the result. The ball was in your best player's hands, and say, you know what, we live with that. So let's wrap up this podcast and go to the Wofford, Jeff,
Wofford.
Wofford. Sorry,
Wofford.
the
That's where Virginia Tech's coach came from.
Never heard of them. All right, so the Wofford was it Bulldogs?
Carriers.
Yeah, the Terriers, bro. Not
Terriers.
even a tough dog.
No, not even. No, they're not like the Duke, the JMU Dukes. The Bulldogs there. But AC, you're a huge Wofford fan. Wofford.
Wofford.
Wofford fan.
Jeez, dude.
I'm joking with you guys.
Jack.
But anyway,
Gone are the days of Fletcher McGee.
He said,
I'm just
"Jeez,
trying to.
dude,
I'm trying to get Jack going. But
you
anyway,
got him.
AC, you are a huge supporter of these guys. You know
Sure.
everything about their team.
Everything.
What are we looking at against
I mean,
Wofford?
so number one, it's a team that's gonna score from the perimeter. They're gonna play. They don't play 5 out. They play 4 out, one end. They have a center, Kyler Filowich. I think he comes from Southern Illinois. He's a transfer in. They are. I think they're second in the NCAA in threes taken, and then they're ninth in threes made. So they're going to be shooting the rock. Like that's which is a great game leading up to Arizona, because Arizona's going to do a lot of the same stuff, maybe just in different ways. But we're and coming off Kentucky, the same thing. We have 3 teams in a row that their job is to shoot threes. So you got the same thing going right now with Wofford. So they're going to be a 3-point shooting team. Not going to attack the basket much. They're a horrible free throw shooting team. Like, look, 119-50 should be the score of this game. Bottom line, we gotta impose our will. Like, anything less than that, honestly, like if 92-60, and we didn't learn anything, in my opinion. 115, 119 to 50. I'm stick with that 70-point victory. I'm telling you right now, like I don't anything less than that, I'm disappointed, quite honestly.
Well, actually, that would be a 69-point victory.
All right, there we go.
Nice.
Thank you, Jack.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jack.
This is a team that, like 5-6 years ago had Keve Aluma, Fletcher McGee, Storm Murphy, names that people know. Fletcher McGee broke JJ's and a few other people's 3-point record in Division One. Mike Young was the coach there. That was team was really good. They haven't really recovered. They are now on their second coach since Mike Young left, after Mike Young was there for like 20 years or something like that as a head coach, and over 30 as a coach, head or assistant. Yeah, this team isn't that. That guy Filowich that AC mentioned earlier, he's tied for the team lead in assists, and he is their center. Which you can take that one of two ways. One, oh look, you have a good passing center. The other, their center's tied for the team lead in assists. Like, what's that? This is a team that just tonight we're recording on the 13th. They just lost to Presbyterian. They lost to Lipscomb.
Shouts to the Blue Hose, baby.
The Duke beat in 2015, 113-44. I don't know why I remember that score, but I do. But yeah, They've lost to Lipscomb. They lost to Presbyterian. They beat Erskine. I think I'm pronouncing
Erskine.
it right.
Yeah, Erskine.
Erskine. I've never.
We could beat Erskine with this 4, and then let's get the 5 of us.
Yeah, the
We could
score
beat
of that
Erskine.
game was 112-58, and then they
Yeah.
lost by 9 to Lipscomb. They lost by 3 to Presbyterian.
Yeah.
This is not a team that Duke should struggle with. This is not the team that beat Carolina 2 years out of 3.
No,
So
that's
your
why I think we
score
should beat them by 69 points.
Nice. Your score
109-58. I'm gonna be a little more
conservative.
generous to Wofford than AC was.
Yeah, I'll just go
No
very
Vaseline.
quickly. Jesus.
Oh.
Come on, Jesus. I'll be very quick here, Pauls. I'm gonna go 107 to. I said pause.
Good one.
107 to 55 is my score. Coach P, the P stands for pause. Wrap it up.
Yes, man. Yo.
I got you again.
So
And yeah, go ahead.
Wofford, right? So
Whatever.
I don't really give a fuck what the score is, honestly. I ain't gonna say just win, because we gonna win regardless. You know what I'm saying? And this should be a fucking. Let's just bring a body bag to the damn arena, bro. Like, let's throw him in the body bag, bro, and zip that motherfucker up.
Murder.
That's what we gonna do, bro. Like, straight up, like we're not even playing with these cats, bro. Like, don't even fuck around. I want to beat these guys by 140.
Carriers.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, straight up, I want to beat them by 140. Shit. Well, we're gonna call the damn. Who's the people that come pick up like
the dog catcher?
The people that come up
catchers,
pick the dead animals off the road.
The canine.
That's
Get
what we're
'em.
gonna call after
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, at the beginning of the game, because we got to scoop them up off the floor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're gonna Michael Vick
Come
these
on.
dogs, bro.
Yeah, we definitely gonna.
Oh
we
my
definitely
god.
Come on, I know you're a Virginia Tech guy, but
Let's
come on,
go,
man.
baby.
That's
We
insane.
definitely gonna Mike Vick them.
That's
Sure.
wild.
Yeah, that is so crazy, right?
Let's go.
And
You're gonna euthanize these carriers here.
that's
I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy.
All right.
Anyway, here we go. So
I want to watch Jared McCain. He's closing in on 30 right now. Let's go.
Yes, sir. Yes,
there we go.
sir.
All right. So here's the thing: is that Duke? Yeah, we may have lost a battle against Kentucky. I guarantee you, as Pablo said,
I hit the Jeremy Kings.
when he was meeting with all the UK fans outside the arena, they don't want any part of this. And the reality is, they don't want any part of this. They know it. They can talk their shit on Twitter. They can talk their shit on X. It doesn't make any difference. The reality is, you both know. You all know. You don't want this team. You don't want this smoke. We are the best team in the country. Go ahead and screenshot it. Go ahead and clip this video. We are the best team in the country. I know it.
Come back in April,
AC
bitches.
knows it. You know it. Go ahead and screenshot it. Go ahead. I don't care, because at the end of April, we will be the one holding up the trophy. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Rain the smoke. Go Duke.
Let's
Go
Duke,
Duke.
baby.
Go Duke. Go Duke. Go Birds.
Yes, sir.